Got him. Got that one. That's what I'm talking about, son. Got us a little frog fish. Get up in here, son. That's what I'm talking about, son, right there. Look at this. Look at this. He swallowed that frog. He engulfed it. Good job there, son. I let him take it that time. Look at that fish, folks. Beautiful bass right here at Fool Hollow Lake. Let me tell you something. There ain't a whole lot of this stuff in this lake. There's some on the main lake. There's some down here in the channel. But I've said this a lot throughout the shows that I've done up here in the beautiful White Mountains of Arizona. And this is in Sholo, Arizona, is we don't have shad. With not having shad, you know, you gotta think of a different way to catch these fish. We've had some good fishermen come up here and fish, and they, you know, they do well, but once they realize there's no shad here, you gotta do something a little different. These fish like to hide up underneath all this matted stuff. We're in like a foot of water, and they'll hide up in there in 6 inches of water. Then you gotta look at, you know, eating crawdads, bluegill, and trout, you know, and I think these fish, as much as I hate to say it, are a lot lazier than they would be down in the lower lakes where they chase shad all the time. They don't have to do that. They don't even have to chase trout here. A lot of them are eating a lot of crawdads and a lot of frogs. There's a lot of frogs on the water, and today we're throwing one of our favorite kinds of frogs. It's a blitz lure frog. And well, we caught that fish on it anyway. And it's a brown frog. You can see how brown with black. Now the ticket with this frog is I'm gonna change colors today. White works good because the belly of frogs are white. So white works good, and they always say during the day, use the bright sunny days, use the white. When you have dark cloudier days, use the black, things like that. And that's a good thing to do. But what I did was I've seen some of these frogs jumping around here, and a lot of them have a brown tint to them, even on the bottom. So I went with something that I might have a little brown on. The other thing that I've done is a lot of times the skirts on these, on the back for the legs, are really long. The longer legs are great when you're in open water and you're trying to walk the bait, because those legs drag enough to where it sways the bait back and forth like this, okay? With this, what we're doing is not that. What we're doing is dragging it across the top of the weeds. You need it small, you need it compact, so when they bust out of the weeds, they get the whole frog and you hook them. Got him. Oh, that's a good one, folks. That's a good one. We found the right color anyway. Oh, that's a monster bass right there, son. That's what I'm talking about, son. When you find the right color, you get them. This is when you say, you're thankful you're using braid. Look at that. Oh, somebody's line's in there. Somebody broke off. Look at that frog. Boy, he came up and squashed that bait. Man, this is the one I should have been using in the tournament the other day. I'm telling you, we got somebody's line in there. We're gonna have to pull out. But look at that fish, every bit of 4 or 5 pounds right there. Every bit of that, baby. And that's the kind of fish you catch out of these weeds like this. The beautiful Fool Hollow Lake bass right there. Look at that. Wasn't long ago, they just got done spawning up here. Look at that. Summertime bass fishing right here in the mats of Fool Hollow, man. Let me tell you, what a blast. Look at that fish. See you later, buddy. You know, these frogs are a lot of fun to throw. A couple of things to remember. Essentials. Number one, I'm using a Taipan Elite Series frog rod. Very important to have a good frog rod. It's got a little bit of a bend, but mostly all backbone. Just enough for them to inhale that frog. The other thing is I'm using 65-pound braid line, okay? And it's straight braid, no leader on it, no nothing. Tie it straight to the frog, okay? Johnny Moore's Signature Series reel, and I'll tell you what, it gets the job done. But this frog, I don't know if you can hear it, it's got a few little beads in it. And so when I'm sitting there and I'm working it across and I want to sit in one spot and just kind of jiggle it a little bit, they hear that thing, they come right up and crush it. Got him. Got another one. Get him out of there. He's not as big, I don't think. Did I miss him? I missed him. Unless he's in there, I didn't get him. Oh, I didn't get him. It's fun, but when they get down, you got to give them time to turn around a little bit, man. But these soft frogs, you can usually hook them right away. But man, if they're right in the process, if you get a little overzealous of just reaching up and grabbing the bait and you see them pop out of the water and they haven't turned yet, it's hard to stick them. You try to let them at least make the turn. This ain't the kind of fishing you got to worry about waking up at safe light and getting out fishing. You can wait until the afternoon, but late in the afternoon's better because a lot of times these fish will get up underneath here, underneath these weeds. They'll get more aggressive because they use it as an ambush area to get these little frogs. There's a lot of little frogs out right now. Now here at Fool Hollow Lake, we got some big fish, but granted, a lot of them are, you know, in that 2 pound, 1.5 pound range, probably under here. So it's a little harder for them to break through that matted stuff, but they are there. Ooh, did you see that? Got him. I got that one. That's a monster. That is a good fish. Oh my goodness, folks. This is a monster. Come on, son. Come on. That's a Fool Hollow Lake bass. Look at that. Look at that fish. Oh my goodness, come here. Look at that size of that bass. Where was I in the tournament last week? Oh my goodness. Oh. That is a monster bass right there on that blitz lure frog. Look at that beast. Look at, he's blind in one eye. That's why he had a tough time that last time getting it. Look at that fish. Oh my goodness. He's got another fish in his throat you can't see, but that dude's up there feeding. I'm telling you, that is one gorgeous bass. And it's gonna be released right back here at Fool Hollow. There's another 4 or 5 pound bass easy. That's a giant, giant. Never estimate them frogs, baby. Here we go. Watch this, watch this. You know, a lot of times, oh my goodness, when you're doing this kind of fishing, my trolling motor's kicking up mud. Got to be real quiet, try not to hit a lot of stuff. And we're in a bass boat, which floats really high versus an aluminum, maybe that's really heavy or something. But, you know, we're back here in the very back. And this don't happen all the time. You got to hit it right. You know, come October, it'll be over with, you know. But summertime, a lot of fun. And normally we get a lot more weeds in this lake. But this year we didn't. But in a way, it's a lot easier to fish because there's not many mats to fish anyway. We just keep going back and forth. Now the thing is, when you're doing this kind of fishing, let me tell you something. You can without a doubt, and I promise you this, tie on a different color frog or have a couple different ones tied on and just go back and forth for a while. You know, let a little area rest and then go back, you know, and catch them. And this will work on just about any lake you have. You know, you can go to any lake, even Roosevelt, find little patches just like this, right off the rocks, of any kind of matted weed or something like that, where the fish can get up underneath there and ambush their prey. And I promise you, you can throw a frog just in that one little spot, catch them and then go back to doing what you're doing. And you know, a lot of times those little cuts on the main lakes that we have are piled up with weeds or some wood or something like that, these frogs work great in. What makes these frogs so nice too is they're soft. You know, these Blitzlures frogs are soft enough, and I'll tell you, they get hooked up. Just give them a chance to turn around, they'll get hooked up. It's hard to hook them though when you're setting the hook as soon as you see the blast, because in the weeds versus out in the open water. In the open water, they're usually jumping and kind of at a turn. But when you are fishing this kind of stuff, they've literally got to come up, they inhale the bait, try to inhale it, and a lot of times when we see it, they're still up in this position and we're pulling the frog out of their mouth. You'll get some hooked that way, but not all. What you have to do is wait for them to turn around a little bit. And this bite's only gonna get better as the day goes on. These fish like to get up under here and get shade. Got him. I got that one, buddy. Get out of the weeds. Come on. I got him buried in the weeds. There he comes. Let's hope I got that dude. Did I? I did. I got him in the salad. He's all in the salad. Look at that, folks. There you go. Look how he bit that thing. Look at that. He came up and dove down. That's a frogfish. You know, you talk about a white mountain lake carrying some healthy, good-looking fish. They're here. It's tough, tough as nails to get 5 bites a day on this lake, no matter what you do. But the fish are here. Put him back. Look at all the salad I brought with. Oh my goodness, get out of here. Had to let him take that one down. Sometimes a lot of these fish, what they do is they blast up through there, and when they inhale your bait, they're just kind of sucking it in, and you gotta give them time to turn, man. And it's the hardest thing in the world, even for me, as long as I've been doing this stuff. I mean, it is really hard for me to sit there and wait, because the bites are few far between. So when you do get them, and we've had a lot of frog bites today. I mean, make no mistake. I mean, I bet I've had 15 or 20 frog bites today, you know, to catch just a handful, but that's the way it is in this thick stuff. In open water, it's a lot easier because they know what they're targeting and all that, but when they got to come up and come through all this moss and all that, it's really tough. A lot of times, what you'll see is they'll come up and just kind of bloop it. And when you see that, leave the frog there. And you just give it a little bit of twitch, and that's where the little knocker comes in. Give it a little bit of twitch, move the water a little bit, and usually they'll make that second attempt to try to get it. And you'll be able to catch those fish. That's one of those fish I missed in a little bass club tournament here this last Sunday, right in the same spot. And I caught him this time, but I was just too overzealous on Sunday. I was setting the hook too fast. But they're in this thick mat stuff. They're not in this dead looking weed on the end, open weeds. They're in that thick matted stuff. And you gotta give them an opportunity to get in there and get it. Hey folks, for my tip of the week, one thing really important about doing this kind of fishing is not every weed is created equal. You've got some of this sparse vegetation in here, kind of almost looks like dead weed. Seems like I can't really get bit out of these areas, but if you get up to some of these mats, like you see in front of me, some of these mats, as soon as you get into the mat, it's like they're hiding under the mat, getting some shade, using it for ambush. Those are the kind of areas I'm getting bit out of. These areas, not so much. Not that you don't want to cover them, but your odds are better once you start figuring some of the stuff out. Figure out what weeds the fish are hanging in. You know, start dissecting it a little bit and go, okay, I'm getting more bites off the mats, so I'm gonna throw back there off the mats and see if I can get bit a little better. It seems like I can't do it in the sparse weeds, but that matted stuff, and it's hard for them to come out of. But man, I'm telling you, you get the right size fish, he'll eat it. This is why you use braid line. It is so hard to use anything but braid line. You get a good cast with braid line, you know, you can get in there and get them. If you have to go in there after them, you can go in there and get them. But I'm gonna tell you something that's really key to this kind of fishing, is when you are pulling your frog and you come to the edge of the weeds, give it a few pops after the weeds. A lot of times they'll be hanging under those mats, especially if you got bit or something, and as you're pulling it out and you come to the edge of the weed, as soon as it hits open water, kaboom, they'll hit it. So you gotta give them opportunity to do that. Don't just automatically reel in. Work that thing all the way back. Work it just like a frog. Hop, 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 stop. There's times I've just let it sit there and they come up and blast it. Got him that time. I got him. Yes, son. Come on. Get in here. That's the fish. That's the one I lost on Sunday. Yeah, that would have made a difference. Oh my goodness, look at that. That thing hit 4 or 5 times on me on Sunday. I could not get him out of that thick stuff, right by that reed patch. That's a 2.5 pounder right there. It's a beautiful fish. Look how fat they are, man. Just look at that. Beautiful bass. We'll let him go back. Folks, I have had a great day on the show. I'll tell you what, man. And just for future reference, when you come around a little area, he's in 6 inches of water. We're in 3 foot of water right here, so he's way up there. They get tight up underneath that stuff. They'll get along the reeds and all that. Don't be afraid to cast to the bank here. Seems like in the White Mountains, you have to fish shallow to catch these fish. I've tried deep stuff once in a while, but man, I'll tell you, most of the time, it's just going around the bank. Had a great time on the show. Thanks for joining us. Little frog fishing. Be sure, I tell you right now, match the hatch, man. Watch those frogs when you see them when you come up. There's a great time of year for it. These had a little brown on them when I saw them. So we picked up this one right here by Blitz Lures. And I'll tell you what, pick you up some Blitz frogs. You're gonna love them. They're soft. The hookup ratio is pretty good on them, and you'll have a good time. Thanks for joining us on the show. We'll see you next week. I'm Johnny Johnson. Now, see, that's what I'm talking about, folks.